Now, to the favorite human of the entire planet, let's talk about Israeli Prime Minister Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, who is now facing one of the most difficult moments of his political career. Well, thousands of angry protesters have flooded Habima Square in Tel Aviv, accusing the entire government of dragging their country deeper into crisis. The streets were filled with very dramatic slogans: Prime Minister, how much blood will be spilled, disaster for the state of Israel. Now, these are not just opposition chanting anymore, they reflect exhaustion, frustration, growing public anger after months of military operation that many Israelis believe have failed to deliver lasting security. Despite the heavy military action, Hamas remains active in Gaza, right? Hezbollah continues to pose a threat from Lebanon. Hostage families remain emotional and frustrated. And many citizens, they are now openly questioning whether Mr. Netanyahu's strategy is actually making Israel safer or pushing the entire country deeper into instability. Now, the political pressure that is also intensifying. Opposition figures, including Democratic leader Yair Golan, he has sharply criticized what he calls the government's extreme nationalism. Rumors are growing about coalition fractures and the possibility of early snap election as soon as September. This matters because Mr. Netanyahu has long built his political image around security and strength. But now he faces criticism, not just internationally this time, but domestically as well. And let me tell you, that changes the entire equation completely. Israeli politics can shift very, very quickly under public pressure, specifically during prolonged conflict situation. Well, the scenes from Tel Aviv reveal something deeper. Israeli society itself is becoming increasingly divided over the future direction of the entire country. Well, some demand even stronger military action. Others fear endless war without clear results. And you know what? That internal division may ultimately become just as politically dangerous as the threats Israel face externally. Well, if we are talking about the Gulf region, how can we forget Saudi Arabia? Ladies and gentlemen, there's a fresh update from the Arab world. Gulf region where fears surrounding drones and regional escalation are growing once again. Saudi Arabia says it intercepted 3 drones that entered from Iraqi airspace. At nearly the same time, reports emerged that the drone struck a generator outside the UAE nuclear power plant in Al Dhafra. Officials say that there was no damage to the plant's inner perimeter though, and there was no radiation threat. But wait, let's pause for a second here. Any incident involving a nuclear-linked facility immediately triggers global concern because the psychological impact alone, that's massive. If we are talking about the nuclear plant, the Barak plant, it is one of Gulf's most sensitive strategic locations. Even a nearly strike, it sends a message that critical infrastructure is increasingly exposed to the drone warfare. Here, Saudi officials say that 2 UAVs were intercepted while one reportedly impacted outside the plant area. Well, Riyadh has warned that it reserves the right to respond to any threat against its sovereignty. In the meantime, Iraq has rejected claims that its territory should be used as a launchpad for regional attacks and stressed that weapons must remain under state control. And this is the frightening reality of today's West Asia. Drones have changed the security equation altogether. They are cheap, they are difficult to track, they are capable of targeting oil sites, military bases, airports, strategic facilities with increasing precision. Traditional air defense systems, they were designed for what? For larger threats like fighter jets or ballistic missiles. But drone warfare operates very differently. It's quieter, faster, and less predictable. And this is why Gulf nations are becoming increasingly nervous. One unidentified drone crossing one border, it can suddenly create accusations, retaliation, threat, and regional instability. Well, the fear is not just the attack itself. The fear is miscalculation because in an already tense environment, one wrong assumption, it can rapidly escalate into a much larger confrontation.